The mayor of Los Angeles and the governor of California are in the largest sanctuary city and the largest sanctuary state in America. They refuse to turn over tens of thousands of serial criminal illegal aliens to ICE. So they get arrested by state or local authorities and they get cut loose. They then go on to commit crimes like assault, armed robbery, home invasion, and murder. The most unimaginable, egregious crimes you could think of. All of that blood, all of that suffering, all of that heartache, squarely on the soul and conscience of California's governor and the mayor of Los Angeles. They are guilty of crimes against humanity. They are facilitating child trafficking, sex trafficking. Look, they think this is a game. They think this is a joke. This is life and death. When you meet with the families, as you have, Griff, whose loved ones have been raped and killed and slaughtered by criminal illegal aliens who have no right to be in this country, what Newsom are doing and what Bass is doing are unforgivable. And God bless our ICE agents and Border Patrol agents for going out there and doing this mission on behalf and on the orders of President Trump to make America safe for our citizens. The Democrat Party seems to only care about two groups right now: criminals and illegal aliens.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you all for joining me today. If you haven't already, please make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. Most importantly, please make sure that you are following me on Telegram at TD Media Group to help circumvent social media censorship and shadow banning. And with the introduction out of the way, let's get into today's news. And today we have to head on over to the state that I reside in, the sanctuary state of California. Why is that? Because here in the sanctuary state of California, and to be even more specific, in LA County, we have declared a state of emergency here to provide rent relief, yes, free rent, for those who have been impacted by ICE raids. Yes, we're giving free rent to illegal immigrants. At least that's what it looks like is getting ready to happen here in LA County, right? Now, mind you, while this is getting ready to happen, we have situations like this occurring. While they're framing the narrative that illegal immigrants are the victims of ICE raids, what they won't talk about are the victims of DUI crashes from illegal immigrants who have been deported multiple times over and have crossed the border each time under a different alias. These are the people right here. And today, as far as the first story goes, we're going to focus on this man here who is the culprit. This man is Norberto Celerino. I believe I'm saying his last name correctly. Killed 6 people in a DUI crash. Once again, has been deported and crossed back multiple times over from Mexico and has 3 aliases. These are the people that ICE is doing the hard work of removing from this country. Guys like this, who should have never been here to begin with and should have never been allowed to cross back over and over and over and over again. But instead of allowing ICE to do their job and saluting them for keeping our streets safe from degenerates like him, instead, liberals are spinning a nonsense narrative that illegal immigrants are being targeted and they're victims and being negatively impacted by ICE raids, to which now we have declared a state of emergency because they need free rent. They need rent relief. Before we get into the foolishness of the rent relief, what I want to do first is get into this story. So let me pull up the news clip from this story and we'll unpack this a little bit more.
The driver of a minivan that crashed over the weekend on Pope Valley Road in Napa County, killing 6 fellow farm workers, has been formally charged. 53-year-old Norberto Celerino, who has previous DUIs, was charged Tuesday by Napa County prosecutors with 6 counts of murder, 6 counts of gross vehicular manslaughter while intoxicated, and DUI. The crash happened on Pope Valley Road at about 6 Sunday evening. The CHP says Celerino went off the road and crashed into a tree. 6 male victims died at the scene. Celerino and another passenger were airlifted to hospitals.
This is unlike any case that I've ever seen here, and their grief must be unimaginable.
I sat down with Napa County DA Allison Haley, who's been a prosecutor here for 2 decades.
I believe that we can prove that a defendant has been given a formal warning of the extreme dangerousness of driving while drinking.
Celerino, a Stockton resident, has at least 2 DUIs in San Joaquin County and was warned by a judge he could face murder charges if he killed someone while again driving under the influence. Authorities say Celerino ignored that warning. CHP officers met with him at Queen of the Valley Medical Center in Napa, where they say his eyes were red and watery. He had the odor of alcohol on his breath and had slow and slurred speech.
It's at that time when we believe that extreme indifference to human life justifies a murder charge.
As the case makes its way through court, advocates like Caitlin McGuan of the Western Farmworkers Association says the tragedy highlights how many workers will share transportation to save costs.
They work long hours and travel on narrow and winding roads in vehicles that are overcrowded and unsafe due to a lack of income for repairs. This creates treacherous conditions for the workers.
I learned their 2006 Toyota Sienna minivan was street legal but had been deemed a salvage vehicle by the DMV because of severe damage from a crash in which airbags had deployed. It was also the subject of 2 recalls.
Going back to the fact that these are the people that Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass are trying to protect, and DNC lunatics as a whole, they're trying to protect guys like this. But what I also want to highlight is that if you're curious as to why is it that the racist narrative doesn't really seem to stick with the Hispanic community as it pertains to ICE raids and how it's impacting, Hispanics, and you're hunting Latinos, as Karen Bass said, why it doesn't really stick with them is because concerning situations like this, it's Latinos that are impacted negatively the most overall when it comes to situations like this. The last story that I did yesterday concerning the Venezuelan illegal immigrant that brutally kidnapped and beat a couple in an Aurora apartment complex and then fled to Chicago. Well, who did he beat and kidnap? They were a Hispanic couple. Almost every time when you see stories like this, obviously all Americans are impacted. But a lot of times, some of the most horrific stories that you see and hear, or most unfortunate concerning someone being killed, is an illegal immigrant killing another Hispanic person. And that's generally recognized amongst the population of Hispanics. That's why you'll see in places like Chicago, we've discussed this and we've gone through the polling, the plurality, 49% of Hispanics, I repeat, 49%, almost half, 1% away from half of Hispanics in Chicago want ICE because of nonsense like this. So I think that's very important to highlight. It's very important to highlight that. I think there's maybe about 30 more seconds left in this video. I'll let it play and then we'll move on.
Now, 2 of the victims who died were positively identified within the past half hour. They are 34-year-old Fernando Silverio and 42-year-old Loreno Ricardo Hernandez, whose daughter told me by phone just moments ago that he was a very caring man who would always put others before him.
So we can move on now. What I want to do next is that I want to transition over to the nonsense of free rent for illegal immigrants that are being negatively impacted by ICE raids, right? By ICE doing the good work of removing, once again, guys like this off the street, monsters like this off the street. ICE is being demonized, while people like him are considered victims and are being given free rent. Let me pull this video clip for you right now. I believe from ABC 7, where they discuss illegal immigrants receiving rent relief. So let's jump into this clip next.
Napa County has declared a state of emergency over the immigration raids. The Board of Supervisors voted today. Board members say the raids are preventing people from going to work and forcing some businesses to close. The emergency allows the board to look at enacting an eviction moratorium and other protections for people impacted by the raids. And this news just coming into our newsroom. Will, of course, continue to follow it.
So they want to give an eviction moratorium. Translation, rent relief. Don't worry about it. It's on us. It's on us, which doesn't mean it's on us, the actual DNC politicians. It's on me. You know what I mean? It's on me. it's on us, the taxpayers, to provide all this relief and all this aid. Because outside of rent relief, cash cards and things of that nature have been issued out for those who are negatively impacted by ICE raids. It's those like me who cover the bill for this kind of foolishness. Meanwhile, the economic situation that we live under here, as far as those living in Los Angeles that actually pay their way, and there's no relief for us in sight, we have to live under some of the most outrageous cost of living that you will ever see. Look at this here. Now look at this here. Boy, we need relief. I need relief out here in LA, okay? This is madness what I'm getting ready to show you. What you're looking at right now on your screen is the average cost of a home across the United States of America, across the nation. The average home is valued at $363,000. $363,000. Okay. You know how much the average home is valued at and costs here in Los Angeles, where I'm at? $936,000. $363,000, the national average. Los Angeles, $936,000. Where's my relief, man? I need help. I need help. It all helps. It all helps. Somebody please help me. Please. I need assistance out here. Okay. Look at this here. This is from AAA fuel prices, right? Look at this. I can zoom in a little bit. Today's AAA, national average. As of today, the national average of gas, right, per gallon is $3.05 for the most part. $3.05. You know how much it costs here? The average cost of gas in California? Look at this when I highlight over California. Boom. $4.64. National average is $3.05. California average is $4.64. I need help. I need help. I need help. Shout out to Texas, my man Saul and Fat Boo. I believe Fat Boo, you live out in Texas too. You guys got it good over there. They say the average gas in Texas is $2.64. That's well below the national average. But over here, I'm getting hit upside my head, $4.64. This is crazy, and honorable mention. Shout out to Florida. I always shout you guys out over there. $2.96 is the average over there. Not bad. You're right there with the national average. But me over here in California, I'm getting killed. Let's go over some more stats, though. Los Angeles specifically versus the national averages as far as cost of living is concerned, right? Because, I just want to prove the point to you guys that here in LA, citizens need help. We need relief, but we're not getting it. But you know who is getting it? I'll show you who's getting it. This guy. Guys like that. Who's considered a victim? This man's considered a victim. He's getting all the relief that he needs. While, hardworking guys like me struggle. Check this out here, though. Look at this madness. Now, look at this here. Grocery/food costs. How much higher approximately? Okay. In LA, the cost of groceries is 8 to 12% higher in Los Angeles than the US national average, right? 8 to 12% higher. Look at this right here. Look at this. Transportation, excluding gas, 30 to 40% higher. God. Utilities/energy, 5 to 10% higher. Some sources suggest up to 31% higher in California. Help me, please. Somebody help. Escape LA. Escape LA. Look at this. Rent and apartment costs. I'm going to zoom in for this like big time. Rent and apartment costs 100% or more higher. This city is crazy. This is outrageous. Overall cost of living 50 to 60% higher compared to the US national average. We are paying 50 to 60% more overall. You would think, and I've said this so many times over, with the amount of money that we pay to live here, you would think that LA looks like Dubai. You would think so, and it should. But no, it looks like a trash can. A dirty one as well as that. Not just a trash can, but it looks like a dirty trash can with cockroaches all inside of it. And there's no relief for us. No relief. But you know who does get relief? Guys like this. And with all that being said, that does it for today's news. So I want to thank you guys for joining me today. Please hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. Share this video on your social media platforms. And please, please, please help me. And follow me on Telegram at TD Media Group. The link to my Telegram is in the description box below and pinned in the comment section as well. Thank you all for your time. Until the next video, peace and have a great afternoon. Help me, please. Help me.